You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. The Options Insider Radio Network is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. Fidelity's Option Trade Builder tool can help you confidently build an options trade in 3 simple steps. Just choose a strategy, select a contract, and then review the benefits and risks of the trade. Learn more about Option Trade Builder at fidelity.com/options. Options trading entails significant risk and is not appropriate for all investors. Certain complex option strategies carry additional risk. Before trading options, contact Fidelity Investments by calling 800-544-5115 to receive a copy of the characteristics and risks of standardized options. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Join us now for the expert source for inside information on the options markets. It's time for Options Insider Radio with your host, Mark Longo.
Welcome back to Options Insider Radio, the interview program here on the old network where we welcome on guests from throughout the world of options and derivatives and proceed to pick their brains for the benefit of you, the listener. My name is Mark Longo from the optionsinsider.com, as well as, of course, from the ever-exciting, at least we hope so, Options Insider Radio Network, coming to you once again from the Securities Traders Association Conference here in scenic and sunny Washington, D.C., and I'm pleased to be joined by our next guest. He's an old friend of the network, even though he hasn't been on in a little while. He is Peter Maragos, the CEO over there at Dash Financial. Peter, welcome back to the Options Insider Radio program.
Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate you having me again, and I had a good time last time. I look forward to chatting.
Last time I think we had you in the studio in Chicago, right? That was fun. So yeah, we have to. Now we're meeting up in a very scenic and sunny conference hall somewhere.
Yeah, this is a little more formal.
So a little more formal here, and it doesn't have all the fun accoutrement that we have back.
I'll just imagine myself being in the studio.
There you go. I mean, if it makes it easier for you.
Little visualization.
Let's start there with a little catch-up. Obviously, a lot's been going on in the world of Dash since the last time you talked, including, of course, you guys. When we first spoke, you had just kind of started the merger takeover integration process with Liquid Point. It's been a year and change now, so walk us through that process. Is it complete, all the systems together, and how are things running on that end?
Yeah, things are going great on that side. I mean, believe it or not, time flies. It's been that was March 1st. 2017 when we closed, so we're a year and a half forward, and I would say everything is going very well. The integration is finished, and we're kind of and there's a lot of chores and projects, and these are very complicated things, so we're kind of coming up for air, and working on new products, and the integration products are off the docket now, and so we get to focus once again on new products and clients and the things that we think are the fun things to do in this business.
Yeah, integration I think is never fun. It seems like it's a bit of a theme, maybe at this event or just for the industry these days. Like I'd say 75 to 80% of the people who've sat in that chair so far have been all talking about how their integration has gone over the past year. It's just a theme. I don't know what it is. Everyone usually has some sort of surprises, some sort of hiccups that occurred along the way. It always took longer than they initially thought. So were there any surprises in store for you guys as you were winding all this together?
Oh, just like, I don't know if there was any big surprises. Of course, I think in general, when it comes to integrations or, complicated products, things are always more complicated and take longer than you think, and that's why, and the only solution for that is, having the best people and the best technology.
Speaking of solutions, you talking about new product development. You guys just launched your advanced portfolio trading solution. Sounds very advanced, Peter. So what are we cooking here? What do we got going here in our advanced portfolio trading solution?
It's really exciting. We brought over, two professionals, two domain experts, and Barbara Francis and Jen Hubbs, and really understand this client. And basically, it's for people that are trading portfolios as portfolios, not just a basket of individual orders. It's people looking, either doing transitions or, and it's a really complicated solution. Okay, in a market that has been growing, and so we're going to, through our technology and and the know-how, of our people, I think we have a product that's distinctively better than anything else out there, and we're really excited to bring it to the market.
Is that one of the things that brings you down here to the STA conference? I'd imagine something like that, where you can execute large portfolios, not just individual components, would be interesting to this audience here, which is primarily equities and securities based.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that when it comes to conferences, for me, it's always, you come to learn, for the most part, see what's going on, connect with old friends, and see what's going on in the business. Obviously, one of the things that we're talking about that we're most excited about is our new shiny object. So, for sure, it's exciting to be here.
What have you learned so far from the conference? Did you get a chance to go to the Capitol Hill foray a couple days ago there?
Unfortunately, I was not able to get to that.
I've heard actually surprisingly good things about that. So maybe there's hope that the congressmen are even interested in minutia like cat, and which is deep in the weeds even for somebody who's in the space. So those everything I've heard so far anecdotally has been positive. So that's not always the case. So that's at least a shining thing. Anything else kind of catching your eye down here at this event while you're down here for a couple of days in DC?
Yeah, I mean, I would say generally, we're in Washington, so typically, regulation is, one of the key drivers of, this conference every year, which is obviously why it's very important to attend, because, obviously we are a regulated business, and, keeping in track with the trends and what's coming is really important. But, things like CAT and other initiatives that are going on in different working groups. So I think there's a lot of things going on, and I think that, definitely, the current, commissioner, I think it's been, it's actually created I would say a pretty good environment for, people communicating, and having, good people, on the regulatory side at the SEC that I would say understand the markets better than they ever had, and obviously I think we are looking to, to make, great improvements to what's going on, and I think CAT's a great example of that. I mean, I think that, firms in the business, there's obviously surveillance and regulation. It's part of the business, and I think that the SEC does a really good job. And I think that with using something like CAT, where we're just going to basically flatten the earth as far as what actually happened. What is the tape? When people go to look at the tape of what happened, we can agree on that, right, and create a solid basis, and then we can go from there. Because I think that we. I think, as I've told you many times, I think we have the strongest, deepest, most liquid markets in the world, and obviously, keeping those markets safe, and every industry just like ours has bad players, and being able to surveil properly and make sure that that there's a level playing field for everybody, is obviously very important to the integrity of our marketplace. So
it's one of those building blocks of the market. Not sexy sometimes, but required. Be able to have some sort of level time stamp measurement that everyone can refer to. Would seem to be, an obvious thing, and yet we don't have it yet. So those kind of things sometimes surprise people from outside the space.
Things don't exist until people make them.
Yes, exactly. You're right. Speaking of things kind of changing and evolving, I had a chance. I had a little bit of free time last night. I was surfing around the Dash Financial website. Looked very dashing, pun intended, by the way. Is that a new design? And is transparency by design? Has that always been the slogan, or is that all part of this? Is this a new rebrand you have going on? Am I just late to the party?
I think you're late to actually, we're about to launch a new website in short order. So yeah, that's. I
like the old one. Then let me put that in the stamp for that.
I will put in a good word with you with the branding commission back in New York. But I think that transparency, everything we've done from the beginning, even when we founded our company, has been based on transparency and the things the environment that transparency creates. And I think that transparency by design, I think we're always going to be about that, whether it's on the website or not, because I think that transparency creates some truly unique opportunities. Number one, it tears down the walls of any potential conflicts of interest. Anytime you show people what you're doing, okay, they trust it. Because they understand it and they can see it. Even if they're not going to look at every order, knowing that it's there, okay, builds trust and confidence with the end user. And I think that there's no substitute for that. Once people know and understand, Okay, there's trust and confidence, and that just makes for a better, user experience. And then secondly, once, one of the cool things is once you're, through transparency, people, it creates an environment where things can get configured right and customized for the user. Like, let's say, they're trading Tesla options, and they want to, and then they see what we're doing, and maybe they want us to, post here or not post here, or take things in this order, or do the, and you can, and by showing people what you're doing, they can give you feedback, and then you can sort of tailor the suit for them a little tighter. And so I think that transparency creates an environment where people can configure their routers better because they understand what it's doing, and they can tell you how you can make it better to suit them. Because best execution is an art; it's not a science. Every order, every person, what they're looking to get out of the numerous liquidity pools is, I think it's very idiosyncratic, and I think that showing people what you're doing really helps them give you feedback, so you can really give them a highly tailored solution.
I think it's interesting you guys would, transparency would be so near and dear to you that you would incorporate it into your branding. A lot of people will probably look at your firm and think, financial technology, so you'd have, speed or latency or something else, in there that is inherent to the technological systems. The fact that you guys focused on transparency, I think, is interesting and probably speaks a lot to where you guys are coming from when you build a lot of this stuff. And speaking of technology, it's kind of interesting. I actually had a chance recently to chat with some of the guys who rep maybe the other side of your business, the floor side of your business, some of the things they have going on over there. A lot of people might think, well, that's interesting, kind of, Dash being so, tech forward to also have this floor business, a lot of which you acquired, of course, with the Liquid Point deal. But going forward, how much of your business, I should say, how important is this open outcry execution floor component to your business going forward? And has, the launch of things like the box floor and maybe the revamped Philly floor, has that evolved, any of that? And is that maybe even going to expand for you guys going forward?
All our businesses are important because we don't look at things. We look at holistically, what does the client need? Okay, and we want to, particularly, we want to serve every part of the, of the needs that they're looking for. Okay, there's certain trades get done on the floor for certain reasons. Whether the trader upstairs wants to transfer risk because the execution risk because it's a complex trade. It's an iron condor, and options are complicated. Obviously, it's much different market structure than equities. There's no TRF for options, so everything has to go through, either an electronic auction or a floor to get on the tape. And we're a full service technology company, and sometimes that's about having the right people, to help execute orders for our clients. So I would say that the floors are the floors are still have a they're vibrant. They have I would say market share is steady there. Our clients want to use them in certain scenarios. So yeah, so we're fully supportive of those businesses, and we're a client-driven company. We're a technology services company. Our clients want to use routers, they want to use algos, and sometimes they want to use traders, and sometimes there's complicated trades that need to get done on the floor where you need experts to facilitate that. And I think that we have a great group of people, and I think we have one of the best teams in the business. So that's something that we're excited about.
It's still hard to smart route, a 1x3 iron condor swap in the SPX or something like that, So obviously still need a little bit of that old school high touch, as they say, solution for people, because a lot of that audience still demands that, right? So as long as they're there, I suppose you guys will have a presence. Well, we talked the floor stuff, talked about some of the advanced portfolio tech solutions that are coming out. What else is cooking? What else is in the hopper over there at Dash?
Oh, I can't give away all my secrets.
All of it. It's just me and you talking. There's nobody listening here. Just me and you in a room.
Just as always, we are hell bent on focusing on having the best technology, and everything that we do is around that. Obviously really always focus on visualization. Improving our analytics products. Helping people measure. Helping people compare, and really helping people improve their trading process. Because we do think there's alpha in the trading process, where if you can execute better and if you're buying, get a lower net price, or if you're selling, get a higher net price. That really shows up in results, and and I think that there's real alpha to be generated there, and I think that everything we do is around focusing on that and the customer.
Yeah, you guys are really obviously there to help, streamline that interface into the option space, and streamline, and as you mentioned, find transparency in the execution I'm curious, how has that process been? We hear a lot of horror stories on the liquidity provider front. We see the broad volume numbers, but you guys, anecdotally, that's why I like talking to vendors, quite frankly. You have maybe sometimes a more systemic view of the industry than one exchange or one broker here or there who only sees their own silo of business. What are you seeing anecdotally? Are you seeing more clients wanting to come in and participate in the options market? Is this a robust time, or is it kind of plateaued? Is it flatlined since last we spoke? How is that going anecdotally?
Well, I mean, obviously this year has been a fantastic year for volumes. I mean, I would say we were kind of, unlike the equities market, which is, obviously had a downtrend on the volume side. For years now, before this year, the options market was, flat up small, up, a couple hundred basis points in volume. Obviously, this year we have double-digit growth, and which is obviously exciting for all of us.
From 1 month.
A lot of it's from one, yeah. I mean, but obviously, when you have volatility events, it's always going to look like that. I mean, that's the inherent nature of options. Those times, but it's generally, it's not just, it just hasn't been February. I mean, I think it's been a strong year, month over month, and I think there's numerous themes. I think that there's more volatility in the market, there's more uncertainty, and I think that's showing up. That's showing up in our marketplace. And I think that probably one of the biggest things that we see is that we think there's for the first time in a long time some new participants. I think that and it kind of. And a lot of it we think is, we think there's new participant on the younger side. I think we've talked last time how, there's no trading floors anymore where people go and learn. I mean, obviously, and it seems that, I would say the emergence of cryptocurrencies has, I would say, piqued the interest of the younger generation. That was not, and once people, start trading, I think that spills over into other asset classes where I think that, maybe in last year, maybe crypto took focus away from the options business. I think that, this year now people are, learned how to trade and, there's, and we're involved in the markets for the first time and maybe introduced by crypto, but I think now they're learning, okay, let's, I can trade equities, I can trade options and different other things. So I think for the first time, we, in a while, other than through education, which I think is, everybody's done a good job on, especially, coming out of the OCC to get new participants. But I do think that, the emergence of crypto has sparked passion in a younger generation for trading, and I think that's a very positive thing.
You invoked the C word, so now I get to bring it up. I was trying to be good. I was trying not to bring up crypto. It's kind of legally obligated to bring it up these days, but
the world is what it is.
Yes,
Mark.
yes. You can't avoid it. I'm curious. Obviously, this is a fascinating area for you guys. Do you have any forays right now? Are you planning any forays into that space? Obviously, a little bit different than the option space. Options are fragmented, crypto even more so. The liquidity is not there, so it poses some challenges, but also some opportunities for a vendor like you guys. So what are your thoughts on that space and where you can add value going forward?
Right now, I would say watching closely. We don't have any plans to enter the space. Obviously there's certain, market structure, issues that are being kind of solved, and as far as custody for institutions, and I think that the crypto market is, I would say, still very immature. From having the institutional plumbing that some of the other markets have, but Rome wasn't built in a day. These things happen. So, and obviously Dash is always looking to solve problems for customers where there's multiple liquidity pools and how we can create a better experience. And, obviously I think that, crypto does lend itself to that, but, the market's just not there yet. So as everything, just like other markets, we're going to watch closely, and when there's an opportunity for Dash to add real value, and from a technology and a people standpoint, that's whether it's crypto or anything else, we're going to be running into those markets.
Yeah, we're hearing that a lot. Like that it's still not there yet from a institutional perspective. Obviously, you mentioned the fragmentation, the liquidity. You can only do like 3 Bitcoin a second, so you can't hit a bid for 5,000 or something like that. And also,
it's very expensive to transact.
The custodian issues, the margin. It's 1-to-1 a lot of these products, so it's onerous from a capital. So a lot of things, you're right, still aren't there yet. Which again, may pose some opportunities. It's interesting too. This might be an interesting thing because we've seen this anecdotally. Obviously, we float around the Chicago option space quite a bit, and it seems like crypto over the last year and change has really been a a shot in the arm for a lot of the, maybe your traditional end users too, the prop traders out there, other firms like that, who for a while seemed like, a lot of them were exiting the business. They were looking for the next big thing. Their traditional space of, listed options was getting squeezed, pennied. There were regulation fees, technology fees. It was becoming onerous, quite frankly, to play in that space. And so a lot of people were looking elsewhere. A lot of people, the floors had wound down in a lot of spaces outside of the ones I just mentioned earlier, in Chicago and elsewhere. So there was a large constituency of people who were maybe looking for or hoping for the next thing. And then crypto seemed to just land right in that gap. And I've heard a lot of people who have been very seasoned in the option space for a long time have turned, full barrels into crypto these days. So you can have questions, I think, about different underlyings and their value and whatnot, but you can't question a lot of it is tradable. There's volatility there. The prices do move around. So that's all people need in our space, at least, to do something with it. So maybe in a roundabout way, it's been interesting for your clientele as well, because it gives them something new to trade, keeps them around longer, and they get to use and consume more Dash products, right, at the end of the day. So maybe, crypto, you're right, it's still interesting to watch from that perspective, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I'm looking forward to seeing how things go with Dash going forward. We have to wrap it up, but before we go, Peter, we kind of touched on a lot of different moving parts of the Dash business. With that said, if you want to leave our audience maybe with a little bit of a hint, a little bit of a tease of what's coming down the pike, or maybe there's something we left out you want to make sure we mention, now is the time. The floor is yours, sir.
No, as always, Mark, it's an always comprehensive and free flowing discussion, and I appreciate it, and I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, look forward to talking to you. Look forward to seeing how all this fun stuff from Dash unfolds in the marketplace in the coming months. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/The Options Insider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.